Hello, everybody. Dave Neal here, stand-up comic and host of Bachelorette Recap, a guy's review. And it is the off-season for one more week pretty soon. June 7th, we'll be discussing Katie Thurston's season of The Bachelorette. But in the meantime, we are checking out some other news adjacent to the Bachelor community. And Jason Tartick is making the news today. Let's click right into this for a new podcast he has called Trading Secrets, where he discusses the finances behind the influencing that happens on the show Bachelor. Let me tell you something. This guy is so fascinating that today People.com has an article. Jason Tartick and Dean Unglert reveal how much they got paid for Bachelor Nation shows. Very fascinating. They've got this article. Hey, guess what? I made it 3 days ago, okay? You're following your boy. We are on top of the news. Hit the subscribe button. Who needs people? Who needs Us Weekly when you got Dave? So, fascinating video. To the long and short of it, you can click on my old video if you want to check out that podcast, or you can watch the full thing in its entirety here. But essentially, Dean talking about making or being offered $400 a day to do Bachelor in Paradise, then negotiating that up to $600 a day. They talk about the leads of The Bachelor negotiating anywhere from $75,000 to $100,000 to shoot a season, how much they make as influencers, podcasters, and all that jazz. Well, today's video, let's discuss them talking about the finances involved in the wedding industry with regards to Bachelor Nation, the diamond ring, engagement ring industry, and the industrial wedding complex. It is a fascinating topic, as I am planning my own wedding. And let's hear what they have to say about the engagement rings on Bachelor Nation. As we know, Neil Lane sponsors them. They're always between 3 to 5 carats, which is ridiculous for an engagement ring. We're talking $100,000 to $300,000, wearing on somebody's finger. So anyway, let's get into this. Let's listen to what they have to say about it, and then we will discuss.
I'm curious of this. I saw that you have the ring on, and this this was not planned. This is not anything of that nature. But I'm very curious your thoughts. You might get engaged at some point. I'm not asking you to talk about that, but sure. The whole ring buying process, and we are doing an episode. We have a jeweler because that's a whole different nightmare, and anybody and everybody that can get shortcuts in that industry will need them, and we'll give them. But what is your thought process on the ring buying process? Like, are you the guy that's going to go buy the big diamond? Are you the guy that's going to be like, no, you're going to wear, like, I want you to wear a rubber band ring because that's more meaningful? Like, give me your philosophy on it.
I fully despise the jewelry industry.
I knew that was going to be the case. That's why I asked.
Engagement ring industry, man.
Bad audio.
You want to know what's funny, actually, is
nice guys,
to kind of take it back to even like the Bachelor negotiations, when they're like, we want you to be the Bachelor. Like, I met with one of the heads of the studio, and I was like sitting there in the studio with them, and I was like, hey, like, just so you guys know, like, at the end of the show, I don't want to ask a girl to marry me with a big diamond ring. Like, I don't believe in diamond rings. I don't believe in that type of engagement. And they looked me dead in the eyes and they said, Dean, if you're the Bachelor, you're gonna fucking ask the person to marry you with a diamond ring. And I was like, I probably just lost it right then and there by saying that, because it's so crazy to me that people are gonna go and shell out, what is it, like a quarter of your yearly salary to buy a ring for someone. Yeah, it's a beautiful diamond ring, but
who do you think came up with that strategy?
The Bears.
Right, exactly.
Quarter of your salary. It's these companies that sell them.
The Bears.
But tell me a little bit. I mean, you said you despise it. So give me the full opinion of Dean on the diamond ring engagement ring process.
I'm all about big expenses are perfectly fine. They come with life, but as long as they add practical value to your life, you buy a house, you live in the house, you buy a car, you drive the car. You buy a $30,000 ring. What is that ring doing for you, other than like it's essentially giving you social status, like bragging rights to your friends, like, oh my God, look at this beautiful ring my fiance bought for me. It just that money could be so much better spent somewhere else. And then you even like look at obviously like diamond mining and how like unethical that is, carbon footprint of all that kind of stuff too. But the biggest thing for me is like the practical application of a big expense like that. A diamond ring has absolutely no practical value in my opinion. Your fiance might love you more for getting you a $30,000 ring, but in my opinion, it's like, if Kaitlyn didn't love me because I didn't buy her a $30,000 engagement ring, then she's not the girl for me. You know what I mean? Like, if that is like a deal breaker for the person that you're getting engaged to, as long as that's what you value, in my opinion, they're not the person for you.
Yep, I think that makes a lot of sense.
It's so funny because cut to 6 months from now, whenever Dean proposes, he's going to have a $3.5 carat rock. You know it's going to happen. These are the ramblings of a guy who hasn't gone through the industry yet. Let me tell you something. You know, I got my fiance a very nice diamond ring, but I understand the economics of it. The ring is priced exactly at the price point of what you're willing to tolerate, because you know the system is judging you. You know she's going to post a photo that says, I said yes. It's a whole thing. And I know I get comments from people going, I didn't need no diamond ring. But listen, for everyone who doesn't need no diamond ring, there's plenty of people that feel the pressure from their friend group, from their peer group, society, to get a big rock. It is the quickest way to show your social value, just walking around town, pushing the elevator button, boom, there's the rock. I mean, let me just jump into this. I didn't have this pulled up here, but we've got some massive rocks here, and we know this was filmed right before Jason actually proposed. But this is insanity. Let's cut back over here. We're looking at Kaitlyn's ring. This is, and of course, they had a designer deal. They had some influencer deal. You know, I'm sure they got a heavily discounted ring. But the Alberta designer crafts 5.09 carat engagement ring for Kaitlyn Bristow. That's bananas. I mean, that is a piece of boulder right there. It's ridiculous. And look, everyone to each their own. Everyone, you know, whatever you want to do with your finances, go for it. I'm not entirely against it. The way I wrapped my head around the expense of a diamond ring, getting it insured, I was thinking, well, it's not an investment. It's not going to probably add any value. But if you get it insured, at least it's an asset. At least it's worth X amount through the insurance, even though inherently I don't think diamonds are worth that much. You know, you can create them in a lab now, which is so funny that Dean had mentioned the ethics behind it. You know, you're against spending a lot of money when you start bringing in the ethics. You know, oh, diamonds, they're not mined ethically. You know, they take up a lot of this. They'll kill the rainforest. You know what I mean? Solar panels, whatever you want to say to get you out of buying a diamond ring, you're going to go do it. Let's see what they're saying here about Kaitlyn's ring. I didn't plan this. Let's see if this is any good.
Shoot, this is happening. Come on. She won the hearts of millions 6 years ago when she entered our living rooms looking for love. Let's get this started.
This is Canadian TV.
Bristow went on to appear in her own season of the show. Today, she owns her own wine label, accessory line, and hosts a podcast.
I love her, by the way.
Off the Vine, I'm your host, Kaitlyn Bristow.
But before earning celebrity status, she called Alberta home, growing up in Leduc. Her new husband-to-be hoped to honor her Canadian roots, creating her engagement ring right here in Edmonton.
I think that Kaitlyn is really proud of her hometown and always remembers where she came from.
And so began a process of designing, drawing, and developing the 5-carat ring.
Absolutely stunning. So brilliant, and the ring was crafted in 14-karat rose gold, certified Canadian gold with platinum prongs.
Oh, Canadian gold, eh?
I took inspiration from, you know what, the things that she wore, her fashion choices, and that really inspired the intricate lace diamond gallery in her ring.
Paris Jewelers opened its first.
So Paris Jewelers, apparently they're just like a K Jewelers, right? They're just like a jewelry line. So they clearly shelled out big money for this ring. And look, I mean, you know, you could. This is the Titanic of rings. Who needs 5 carat? I mean, whatever. The point is, let's go back to the article, to the video here. The point is that, look, the rings are priced at a point that you're willing to pay, because you're like, look, I'm not going to get a divorce over this. I'm not going to break up over this. If that's the ring you love, I'll get it for you. That's what every guy says. And I know people are going, no, my guy maybe some guy maybe the men want to get the ring for their social value, to be like, yo, look what I can afford, you know? So it's not just that the women, it's not just their social value, it's the men's too. It's the industrial wedding complex. And honestly, you know, it's out there to just play on people's egos. And with the social media the way it is, there's never been a time where the inflation of wealth and prosperity has been more in people's faces, literally, than in the Instagram world of the wedding industry.
Need to get Kaitlyn on board with that too. I think that might be late though, because that's already been bought. But you're right. You talk about the actual flex. It's literally the ultimate flex. It's a representation of, like, okay, maybe a quarter of your income. It's like the guy's flexing that he's got it, the girl's flexing that she's wearing it, and the purpose it serves is literally if it's a commitment, it's a commitment, and I'm already in a committed relationship. I don't think the commitment grows any stronger whether there's a ring on the finger or not, or if it's $100,000 ring or a $10,000 ring or a $1,000 ring. The meaning is, I don't get it, at least. So I'm glad I got your opinion on that.
Now, I'll tell you what, I mean, I probably spent 80% to 100% more than I spent twice as much as I thought I would have had to spend on a diamond ring. The more I learned about it, the more I did kind of understand a lot of the pricing and the value, because, like I said, if you get a ring insured, it is worth something. It is, in a bind. If you need that money, you're going to go find a way to get it. It is worth something, but it is for sure overinflated. For sure. Now, interesting to hear them talk about it, because The Bachelor relies on this. The Bachelor relies on people like Tayshia getting that big old rock. Claire Crowley got the rock. It relies on these. I mean, look at this. Just several years ago, how small. No, this is probably like 1 or 2 carats. But this is 17 years ago. They had smaller rings. But it's just out of control here. They go through brides.com goes through all the different engagements that happen. And of course, The Bachelor itself has a success rate of less than 5% when it comes to couples that actually propose and stick together. Here come the bigger rocks. They start to come out here. Anyway, you can go click on all that. But yeah, it's interesting what the wedding industrial complex is and how it's hurting our ideas of love. And this was 4 years ago. What would happen to wedding planners if people suddenly stopped having weddings? I had this thought the other day while scrolling through Instagram. A friend of mine, a wedding planner, had posted pictures from a wedding she recently organized. I quickly dismissed the idea. I thought, there will always be weddings because everyone is taught to want marriage. Then it dawned on me. A lot of people's jobs depend on the pressure to get married. There are many different kinds of businesses involved in the wedding industry. This includes wedding planning and consulting companies, dressmakers, jewelers, florists, caterers, furniture staging companies, hotels and other venues, DJs, photographers, videographers, hairstylists, makeup artists, beauty therapists, bridal book and magazine publishers. Oh my! There's a lot of people who want your money. And look, I'm not here to tell people what to do. It's just, it is what it is, like my wedding, we're starting to plan it after the post-COVID world. My family's always like, when are you going to get married? And then, as soon as you get married, when are you going to have kids? It's like every time you ask, we're going to delay it a month. How about that, Mom? You know what I mean? But with my fiance working in the modeling world, we've done a dozen wedding photo shoots. So we've already done all of the, traditional sort of things you do. We're like cutting the cake and taking the wedding photos and dressing. We've already done all that several times. We've done it in deserts and at mansions and in all these different situations for different publications. Because as we know, like bridal.com and Say Yes to the Knot or whatever, Say Yes to the Dress, the Knot, the I Said No, second time around. That's what they need. Second time around. It's free. All right, I'm going to pitch this to you guys right now. It's called Second Time Around. And it's when you get married for the second time, you use actually recycled consignment shop clothing. This sounds like a great idea because let me tell you something. When you live in the United States of America, 50% of weddings end in divorce. So why don't you do a consignment style store for the second time around? Bride to be? How about bride to be again and again and again? And we'll just go with a thrift shop routine. Oh, you don't like those dead flowers? It's called potpourri, bitch. Listen, we got a store for you. It's called Second Time Around. You can come check it out here. I will be the store manager. That's not an old wedding dress. It's got like the shoulder pads and, just a long, all the way to the sleeve, Anyway, it's like, all right, no, you're not fooling anybody, Jennifer. We know you're not, living that purity culture. We saw your Instagram photos. Not the ones you posted, the ones you're tagged in. That's where you find the true story. I digress. What is an industrial complex? The term industrial complex usually refers to a mutually beneficial relationship between policymakers, usually the government, and various businesses within an industry. The military-industrial complex is probably the most widely discussed industrial complex, refers to the relationship between a government's armed forces and the private corporations that profit from the sale of weapons. They're all in on it. Looking at you, Cheney. They're all in on it. The prison industrial complex is another example and one we often discuss in social justice circles. Private prison companies profit from having inmates in prison. Not a good thing, folks. Wish we voted for Bernie. Why do you got to make everything political? I'll turn a wedding story into a political story. You just give me a moment's notice. How the wedding industrial complex links to, I wasn't prepared for a big word. Amatonormativity. Wow. Someone tell me how to say that one. Amatonormativity. State school is a really useful term I came across a few years ago. Elizabeth Brake, who coined the term, says that it can be defined as the assumption that a central, exclusive, amorous relationship is normal for humans in that it is a universally shared goal, and that such a relationship is normative in the sense that it should be aimed at in preference to other relationship types. Getting married is often seen as a huge achievement and something everyone should aspire towards. In fairy tales, the main character usually only gets her happily ever after she's married. For couples in a relationship, there's often an expectation that they'll get engaged after a few years. We're told we'll never be happy until we find and marry the one. And unless you go to Second Time Around, where you can get a choice jewelry for just a pawn shop. Oh, the wedding pawn shop. Oh, it's a pawn shop, kid. And I love these stories. And for those who are married, divorce is often seen as a failure. Even if your spouse is abusive, you're expected to work on the relationship. It's not about feeling social pressure into getting married. The pressure is also legal and political. All right, so you get the gist. There's a lot of pressure on people. I don't know if you guys knew this. We've had friends like kind of plan their weddings on their own. like not using like a do-it-yourself wedding. If you go and try to get a cake made, never say it's for a wedding. The price is going up. Say you need a cake for an event. You negotiate your prices that you're doing a private event, but the second you bring in that W word, the second you mention it's going to be a wedding, oh, a wedding? Okay, well, there's a wedding surcharge, so go F yourself. That's what it's all about. So join my shop. Second Time Around, we'll be pawning off all of your wedding clothes. Got a wedding frame you don't want anymore? Great. Got a boutonniere? Awesome. Got one of those things that girls put on the leg before they give it up? Awesome too. Garter belt? Second Time Around garter belts here at Dave Neal's Wedding Emporium. All right, that's the Industrial Wedding Complex. Let me know what you think. Share me a fun story how you got ripped off at your wedding. I'll see you guys later on. And 4 p.m. live stream today. Where the hell's the button I like to use? All right, that's it for me. New software. Bye, guys. Hit the subscribe button. Papa needs a job. Gotta afford that wedding.